Good morning, and thank you for joining us. My name is Anuradha Dugal, and I am the Executive Director of Women's Shelters Canada and one of the co-chairs of the W7 Gender Justice Working Group. Le W7 est un groupe d'engagement officiel du G7 qui se concentre sur la justice de genre et les droits des femmes. Le W7 rassemble des activistes, 63 activistes de tout le Canada, des pays du G7 et du Sud, 20 pays en total. Notre rôle est de fournir des conseils et des recommandations. Nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour présenter nos 3 appels à l'action. This is a challenging moment. Democracy, human rights, and civic space are under attack. The shrinking space for civil society poses urgent threats to feminist movements worldwide. Against this backdrop, progress on women's rights and gender equality has stalled. In the face of this, we call on G7 leaders to advance gender justice. I am joined here today by Beth Woroniuk from the Feminist Foreign Policy Collaborative, Theodora Skeadas from Humane Intelligence, and Laveza from Oxfam Canada, W7 Working Group co-chairs and members.
Our primary call to the G7 leaders is to safeguard democracy and democratic principles. As the host, Canada can set the agenda and facilitate a discussion that builds on past G7 statements in support of gender equality. Last year, the G7 affirmed their, quote, commitment to achieving gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls in all their diversity, end quote. They expressed strong concern about the rollback of the rights of women, girls, and LGBTQIA+ people around the world, in particular in times of crisis, and strongly condemned all violations and abuses of their human rights and fundamental freedoms. Given Canada's long-standing commitments to gender equality, we are looking to see even stronger commitments this year. Clear support for rights is a much-needed signal in this troubling time. Second, we call on G7 leaders to take meaningful action to address both the climate crisis and the increasing militarization of our world. As people and the planet, we are facing existential threats that require investment in positive directions. Canada can leverage its influence to push for meaningful action.
Our third call to action is for G7 leaders to take coherent action across both foreign and domestic policies to ensure consistent action on gender justice and universal human rights on all issues. Canada can provide leadership in using a gendered lens in all G7 discussions, economic measures, peace and security, emerging technologies, and more. We call on the G7 leaders to back their words with coherent policies, concrete actions, and resources. That means investing in care infrastructure, funding feminist movements, respecting international law, and ensuring accountability for all human rights violations, including those enabled or ignored by G7 states.
As we close, let me summarize. Around the world, brave activists are working to turn the tide on authoritarianism, the crumbling multilateral systems and international human rights institutions, attacks on the rights of women and 2S LGBTQIA+ people, spiraling military spending in our increasingly fragile planet. The G7 has the power to stand with these activists and their vision for a more just, secure, peaceful, and livable planet. We urge Canada and all G7 leaders to meet this moment. Take bold action. Build on past commitments to human rights and gender equality. If the G7 doesn't say anything on rights, this silence is a major step backward. Thank you.
We can now take questions from anyone who has them.
We don't have any question at the moment. Nous n'avons pas de questions pour le moment. Is there something you would like to add to your statement?
No, we're good. No, we're good.
Thank you. This concludes the press conference. Merci. C'est ce qui conclut cette conférence de presse.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.